Yo, what's up? Welcome to the video and welcome back to my channel. Yes, you haven't clicked on the wrong channel. If you didn't know, I also make digital art, and my go-to I wanna say application is Clip Studio Paint. So in this video I want to update you on why I didn't post, or I haven't posted in a minute on my channel. So as you all know, I was working on, already uploaded the part 1 of the sneaker art I did in color pencil. So I was en route to upload part 2, but something happened. Now this is not an excuse but it's a reason as to why I didn't upload. So school always happens and it messes up everything, because when I have deadlines and stuff, I have to hyperfixate on them, and in the midst of all that I lost all the footage that I had recorded. I had recorded I wanna say 10 GB of footage, which I stored on the portable mem card, which was a mistake. I should have transferred it to a safer location, but the mem card crashed, so I lost the footage. So that's, I didn't have the footage for the part 2, so I couldn't upload anything. Anyway, that aside, now let's get back to this video and the main topic of discussion that I want to have with you. Let's talk about art block. I'm pretty sure you've heard of it, and I want to say some people have definitely romanticized it. Some people use it as a way to push out their content, talking about art block this, art block that, yet, or maybe they haven't even experienced it. But I want to tell you about my experience with art block. So for me, I would define art block as the period when I find it difficult to convey my ideas onto paper or onto the drawing application. In this period, I find myself being constantly checking Instagram and TikTok, which is a bad habit, I know. And in this period, I find myself looking at other artists and feeling like their work is coming to them fairly easier than me at the time. And so when this happens, normally I try to get myself out of it by creating, because I believe to get yourself out of such a situation, you have to take action. You can't just sit and wait for inspiration. I think that's one of the biggest lies that artists tend to navigate towards, waiting for inspiration. I think you kind of have to force yourself to find the inspiration, because your mind is wired for comfort normally. So whenever you feel uncomfortable, that's when you should actually take up the pen, pencil, or drawing medium and just create regardless of the outcome. And so that's what I did, and this piece is actually part of that, because the art block arises as a result of the stagnation. Because when you're doing colored pencil art, it takes a long time, and that stagnation of looking at one piece for all that duration, for me, it gets monotonous, and I feel like I need to let out my creative energy in other ways. So for this video, it's not really a tutorial because I'm very careful about dispensing art advice. I think in this day and age, there are a lot of people who give their opinions, or they try to forcefully make people adapt to their ideologies, and just because something worked for you, it doesn't mean it will work for me. And that's the same principle in art. The way that I create, I know I'm a very rogue artist. I break a lot of art rules, which for beginners it may not be the best way to approach art, because you have to know the rules to break them. And for me, I find it kind of challenging to explain to a complete beginner how to go about making art, And so for this video, it's just like me showing you the process. I titled the piece Tribal Queen. I know it's a corny name. Make fun of me however much you like, but I chose the name, or the inspiration came about because of the tribal tattoos. If you are from a household like mine, you know that having ink on your body might result in a lot of tension in the household. So since I don't want the smoke, so to say, at home, I choose to express my love for ink in my drawings. So when I'm doing digital art, mostly I try to include the tattoos on the skins of the models. It's a corny reason for the concept, but yeah. As I mentioned, my preferred application for drawing is Clip Studio Paint. I got it in the beginning of the year, and I'm still learning how to use it, because for now I use the brushes provided in the application. For me, they work, they get the job done basically. And for now, I mostly use the airbrush, the G Pen, and the noise brush thing. Yeah. I find it easy to use the airbrush because I have actually in fact used a physical airbrush. Like, I bought the airbrush in 2020. No, it was in 2021. I had the airbrush and I used to mix paint and paint on denim jackets. So I have experience with the airbrush, and I know what you can achieve with it. That's why it's my most favorite brush. Some people might argue with that and say it gives like a plastic effect look on your drawings. I would argue that you just have to know how much you push the effect, because you can create amazing art, especially in terms of the lighting. You can create really smooth transitions and stuff. So the airbrush is definitely something you need to look into. The other piece of advice that I would give to those doing digital art is use as many layers as you want. If you can look at my layers panel, I have like 8 or 9 layers for this one drawing. I mostly use the multiply layer just to layer up, because I think coming from a traditional art background, I'm so used to layering things, just building it up slowly. I find it quite challenging to work on limited layers. That's why I use Clip Studio Paint. That and the fact that I currently don't have the iPad, so of course I can't use Procreate, which can be limiting. Also, the highlights and just know your values. Basically, just know your values from the highlights, midtones, and shadows. And for me, I like to push everything to just a little to the edge, not overboard, not going to the extremes, but just pushing them to create contrast so that the image isn't like dead, to say the least, like it has some life into it. If you've stuck this far into the video, I know you're wondering whether or not I'll still upload traditional art. Yes, I will. I think it's quite helpful for artists to kind of be diverse. I don't like to be a one-trick pony, so I want to see how I can juggle between the traditional art, which is more of like fantasy art, for me at least. I get to explore different concepts involving portraits, so I can still practice portraits at the same time, and the traditional art, the colored pencil, where I mainly focus on drawing simple objects but at a far larger scale. Because for the traditional art, I work on like A1 sized papers, and so I will still do both. And yeah, I hope you stay tuned to see the next piece that I drop. I'll try to gather some footage and upload about the part 2 of the sneaker, because I'm not done yet. So yeah, see you next time.